I came here for some reason. After the fires, things have changed. The reason I came here for is slightly different now. The direction is different. I'm still gathering and putting pieces together to find a way forward. And as we spoke before, there was so much destruction, but this destruction somehow, paradoxically, it's creating something. It gives me the awareness. I cannot pinpoint it precisely yet, but I know there is something good coming out of it, which will eventually shed light on which is the right direction to go forward. Compared to most of the Portuguese coastline, where development has widely spread, here in the inland, landscape has been left to its own natural course, leaving pretty much nature to do all the work. Witnessing the 2022 wildfires, and especially surviving them, has definitely changed the way I see and relate to the land and the surroundings. It has been such a humbling experience, which created a strong sense of responsibility. Responsibility I have and every land steward has towards the landscape they live in. The result of the destruction of the fire, it left behind lots of wood. Wood that is slowly degrading, decomposing, and eventually going back into the cycle of life, feeding these trees and plants and mint that is regrowing. So I get a deep sense of inspiration when I can kind of collect these pieces created from destruction and somehow stop this decomposing process, freeze it in time, and again, collaborating with nature, because nature and this process of destruction created this grain, these superficial textures on these pieces of wood. And I really enjoy picking things up where nature left them, the structure left them, and creating something from it. So I feel being aware of being part of nature, I think there's a strict and very enjoyable collaboration from what it was and what has been left there, and my act of transforming these pieces into little pieces of art. Yes. I haven't done any real school, or I've watched videos and I got inspired by people that done this craft and have more experience than me. I literally threw myself into this craft without having much education behind, and that allowed me a pure approach of experimentation. So I had ideas on how to do it, but because of my instinctive approach, I just grabbed the tool and started carving. And that I learned so much through mistakes. I don't do this to make money. Money comes in, but they come in not because I wanted to do it to get money come in, because I was really focused on expressing myself through this craft. The more I walk this journey through each of my creation, the more I feel in such unison with the natural world, and in particular the material of wood. So once I choose a blank to work with, there is a very strong, vivid feeling of picking things up where nature left them. For example, a 200 years old chestnut tree burned down in some wildfires. Then the sun in summer, then the freezing temperatures in winter, the bugs and fungi are all constantly shaping the wood. Choosing what and where to eat and decompose. And then at a certain stage, the wood appears on my path, And with that mix of rationality and instinct, something else is created. So it is a never-ending dance. I think that rationality is the component which brings in the skill set, the knowledge learned in the craft, the choice of the right tool for the desired outcome. And this is all worth relying on, but creation would not be complete if we wouldn't allow ourselves to access what sits in our instincts and develop that sense of diving deeply into an idea, exploring what is beyond the surface. You want to see the cosmic egg? You want to see the cosmic egg? You want some love? You want some love? So this brings to mind Bruno Munari and one of his quotes that really left a mark within me. The quote goes like this: "Da cosa nasce cosa, out of one thing comes another." So this quote really is connected to the design process outlined by Bruno Munari, who's a designer who lived in the early 80s. But to me, out of one thing comes another also describe the erratic path that often creativity can express itself. For me, one of the bases of creation is self-expression and experimentation. And often, when we decide to try a new approach on a task without an intended outcome, we are really allowing more possibility to happen. I think I've always been stimulated by curiosity and perhaps by not accepting how things were told or taught. Maybe also from the strong will of not wanting to fit in, first in school, then at work. So this had me to look for alternative way to express myself and see what was beyond the common and what was accepted as standard. I remember a quote I read on a stained glass shop when traveling in Binbin, Australia. And this quote said, "Every child is an artist. The challenge is to remain one when we grow."
So where are we going?
We're going to Serra da which is land owned by the state, and it's at the top of the hill where the fire started, and there's literally no vegetation left. And yeah, for good 2 years after the fire, you could see this hill just black with no regrowth, no grass. And what is regrowing now is pine. So here there's been trucks processing dead wood, loading up logs for the whole summer, I think.
When you see that mountain, how does that make you feel?
It hurts. It hurts. It's a pain that goes beyond, of course, the physical. It's a feeling that goes down to the heart, down to my soul. The way I like to describe it after the fire is that the landscape has been mutilated. I feel somehow it feels like an open wound, something that will never heal somehow. It was a very nice area, ecosystem where I could forage amazing mushroom, food, berries. And now it's not here anymore. It will regrow, it will rebuild, but especially because it's been caused, it was a reignition fire, so a fire that has been tamed a few days before. The fire reignited and it kept going further, eating neighbors' property, friends' property, blowing up houses, burning dogs on the chain. It's been pretty heavy. Yeah. So that makes me feel sad, and it hurts. It's a pain that I live with it, I manage it, and it's there. I'm aware of it, and it's there. But at the same time, this destruction, it brings a whole new awareness of what my mission can be. Down here it started. It came up the mountain, I started eating here, and that's what the moment we could see the fire here, when I went to Pepine, and he said, okay guys, this is it, I'm leaving. I think this will hit us very hard. So I went back to the property, started loading anything precious that I had that came to mind and could have been loaded within a certain time. And then I went away from the property. We stopped in Gonzalo and we just observe this show going on. There were grannies crying on the terrace, screaming. There were people that wanted to come back up in the farm because they had whatever dogs or things to take. And GNR, police, stopped. No, you cannot go. They just went through it. And GNR just let them go. It was a bit of a situation, yes. While the fire was just devouring the mountain and moving from south to north to the mercy of the winds. But it just uncontrollable. I remember Proteção Civil, Civil Protection, ordering the firemen to leave the mountain. Leave the mountain, go.
And when you described it as a firestorm, like what for someone who wouldn't understand what that would mean, how would you...
Yeah, so you could really see the effect of the firestorm that get generated through these wildfires, where big masses of hot air go up and consequently they push down lower temperature air. And this effect was getting this pretty high, 30-40 meters flame, moving like they were dancing to, they were dancing to some god up there. So really it looked like they had a life themselves. They were going up because of the heat and then being pushed down. It looked like they were slapping the trees and the earth. Yeah, never witnessed such a destructive force. Even though there was so much destruction, it's incredible how nature effortlessly can really react and slowly rebuild itself, possibly stronger than before. And the regrowth, the regeneration that nature is showing me, it's pretty impressive. It's very inspiring, nourishing. And I also feel we are witnessing a scenario which is pretty rare to witness. This regrowth and nature rebuilding itself after this immensely destructive force. And I feel lucky enough to be able to witness this process of creation again. So nature is effortlessly recreating itself from this deep destruction that happened.